Good morning. My name is Jeff Harrison. Thanks for joining us. We're going to be getting started here in just a few minutes. I thought I would start just a little bit early in case you had any questions. This is all about, hey, how do we get more customers as a local business? And I'm just going to share some things that we do with our customers. We work in a very specific niche of clients, and while some things that we'll talk about work specifically in for our clients, a lot of it will work all the way across the board. In fact, the fundamentals are true whether you're selling, pet supplies, veterinary services, aesthetics, whatever it may be. I'm excited to share that with you today. So let me get this music turned off. Just a second. There we go. There we go. And let me unshare that screen. So this is a program that I spoke with Katie, or actually Katie spoke with me a few weeks ago, maybe about 6 or 7 weeks ago, and we said, hey, what can we do to help local businesses who maybe are struggling with that space of getting online, using a digital space to attract the new customers, or attract their customers, or keep their current customers? And they said that, some people are asking for those things to help. And I said, I'll be more than happy to jump in and do that. That's what we do at Swing Point Media. My name is Jeff Harrison at Swing Point Media, and we do this every day for our customers. And we're excited to share this with you. And there's really no selling involved, but some of you might be looking at this at the end of the program. It's about 30 minutes that you say, okay, Jeff, I get this, but I really need some help. Let me know. I'll be more than happy to jump in and see if we're a good fit together. Maybe we can work together, or maybe I can just help counsel you. We do have some customers we work with that are, across the country, and we actually just consult for them and help them with their marketing. So I just want to welcome you. And also I want to thank Katie and the Rancho Mirage Chamber of Commerce for supporting this. Hey, make sure that you're checking their website of what's going on in Rancho Mirage. There's so many good things happening in Rancho Mirage. I mean, I think this week, or in the last week, we saw that Disney has decided to open up a new housing development just north of Sunnylands. And so that's pretty exciting. I can't tell you exactly what that means. Does that mean that, hey, everybody gets free passes to Disneyland if you buy a house in there? Don't quote me on that. I don't know if that's the case. But anyway, this is a live program. I'm going to be sharing some slides. We're going to be walking through this. I want you, if you have questions, to please put them in the chat, whether you're on Facebook for Rancho Mirage, Facebook for Swing Point Media, or YouTube for Swing Point Media. All of them come into the same chat. I can see those. I want to interact with you, because the goal here is that, hey, you may be coming to this program with questions. I want you to leave with answers. And here's the other thing I want you to realize. I joke about this, but I mean this seriously. I'm just a kid from West Texas. We like to keep things simple. So what I'm going to share with you are things that are not requiring you to be this tech savvy person, that it's something you can do to help drive your business. So let's get started. It's now just coming minutes after 11. I want to jump in here. So do me a favor, if you're so inclined, just let me know that you're present. Just let me know where you're watching from. Maybe the business, if you have a business, put the name of your business in the chat. I'd really appreciate that, just so I know that you're out there, and we're going to make it happen together. So I'm going to share my screen, and I'm just going to walk through this. And let me move me. I don't think I need to be in that shot. So let's see. Let's stop what we're doing right now. Hold on just a second. Oh my gosh. It's Katie.
Hi! I didn't mean to interrupt your amazing presentation.
You are never an interruption. You're like that whipped cream on top of my favorite chocolate cake. Jeez, it just makes it even better. How are you this morning?
I'm doing good. I'm always curious to check in with you and find out what advice you have for marketing and advertising and reaching new customers. So I thought I'd pop in and listen and hopefully get some great nuggets to leave with.
I love it. We're just talking about, I posed a question that said, hey, if you had to go with one, which one would you live or survive the longest without? Food, water, or air? What do you think?
Water.
Water. You could go the longest without water. Okay, so
Sorry. That's tough. I can go the longest without food.
okay, good. All right. And then what do you think?
And then, well, I guess water
Okay, and
and then air.
cool. So I'm just going to share this screen here for a second. Let's put it
Okay.
back up here.
Yeah.
And so food, water, air. Katie, you are absolutely right, because when you go with food, you can go about 43 to 70 days. And this is by veryhealth.com. I don't know if there were volunteers that said, hey, I'll go through this. And when I kick off, you can put me down for your study. But they're saying about 43 to 70 days you can go without food. Water, wow, only about 3 days. This is in medical news today. I thought, maybe you can go a week, but 3 days, that's not very long, Katie.
Mm-mm.
But here's the thing, air or oxygen is maybe about 4 to 6 minutes. You start having permanent brain damage. And at about 7 minutes, you're toast.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So which is most important to your immediate survival?
Air.
Absolutely. You got to have air. Just like this plant. Hey, it has to have oxygen, or it has to have that sunlight for it to grow, to crack in there. So my question is, content is like oxygen for your business. It's something you need immediately. It can survive, but in today, a business typically can survive in today's climate. Even short-term damage, not brain damage, but even short-term damage can occur if they don't implement content marketing into their marketing strategy, Katie. And more and more people are using Google to find solutions for the problems. Yep. And these problems are solved by those who provide solutions by creating great content. As an example, did you have a function last night?
Tonight? Tonight is the mixer over at Eminent Design. Yes.
Great. And here's the thing. Now, imagine I just went into Google and I said, Rancher Mars, when is your function and where is it? Mm-hmm. Katie/Google just answered that question. Mm-hmm. But what if I went online and I couldn't hear, or there was no information on there about any function? Is there a chance I probably miss that event?
Yep, absolutely.
Why? Because there's no information. She didn't put any information, no content. This is content, gang. So here's what happens. If you don't have solutions for your ideal customers' most pressing issues surrounding your products or services, you are literally starving your business of oxygen.
That's right. And I think people are out there seeking information, wanting to get involved or get services. And so by not having that information readily available for the customer, I think is quite frustrating.
Well, Katie, let me ask you a question, because I know you, when I walk by your office, when I don't frighten you, that's an inside joke. You're always on that computer, and I'm sure some of us doing researching. But when you look something up, how long will you wait to have an answer before you go someplace else?
Oh, Jeff, you asked a very impatient person that question. 1.2 seconds. No, I really am out to find information as quickly as possible. And if I don't find it, a lot of times I just have to move on because I don't have time to search. So, and being at the chamber, we really try to be helpful to people who call and ask questions. But at a certain point, when you're Googling and you're searching and you're not seeing that answer, you can just get really lost in tons of articles. And so we try to be really helpful. And then maybe what we do is, instead of connecting them directly with what they're looking for, maybe it's, here's another contact that's maybe in a similar field that has a better grasp of, this industry, whatever it might be, that can help you.
Yeah, as a kid, we were pretty patient when it came to hunting for Easter eggs. We would go out there, our parents would put us out there, and it was almost their hour of sanity,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? Because
Yeah.
they said, "Hey, for the next hour, I know they're going to be out there looking for those eggs because I hid them very, very well." And we would be out there and doing our thing, right?
That's right.
But we're way past that now,
Yeah.
because we need that answer immediately. It's like, if a web page loads in less than 3, if it takes more than like 9 milliseconds to load, Google is saying, "Hey, we're going to slap you because it's a poor user experience because it loads too slowly. We want to get it fast." I'm like, "Geez, I can't even blink that fast." So if you're not putting content out there, or you're putting content out there and you're like giving it the wrong title, or you put it in the wrong category, and we're having to search for it like Easter eggs, you're missing out.
Mhm.
Again, this may be a slow death. Maybe it's one of those things where it's like food. It's not water, it's food. And
Mhm.
maybe you can go a little longer. But the idea is you need to make sure those solutions are readily available for your customers. So that's why content is so important. So think about this as, Katie, content is like oxygen for your business. You're not going to survive in this particular climate when you are not creating content. And those are solution based pieces of content. Because when you're searching online, Katie, what are you looking for? Are you looking for an answer?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. So, an answer to what?
Yeah. A number of things. It could be who, what, when, where, why.
Yeah. I mean, as an example, if let's say, for instance, you were going to take Dawn and Annie to lunch, and they said, "Well, where do you want to go?" Well, maybe you want to say, "I want to go to a restaurant within 15 minutes of the chamber," and you put that in there. All of a sudden, you're starting to search. Somebody says, "Well, do you want to go to Mexican?" "No, I'd like to go to Italian." "Okay, great." Now you start narrowing it down. But it
Mhm.
all starts with, well, what is the problem you're trying to solve? Where are we
Right.
going to go to lunch? It's within 15 minutes. What do we want to eat? And are they open? What is their price? And all these things are pieces that you can put out there, that I call it breadcrumbing, that put breadcrumbs out there that lead them to you to make it so you're the obvious answer to your problem.
And using that Google platform and that Google page, and creating that, I don't know if you call it, Jeff, that Google website, um, has been such a game changer for us. And I love the way they also communicate by telling you how many calls you've received right from that page. I find it just so interesting, and we almost watch it like a little wave. When the snowbirds and everyone was coming into town, it was like, holy cow, there were so many searches, and it was really great to see. So it's also really good data.
Yeah, it used to be called Google Business, Google My Business, and now it's called Google Business Profile,
Mhm.
and it really has some amazing functions to it. I know that's a service that we offer with our customers, and it is pretty exciting because you can start moving the needle very, very quickly. We had one client come aboard. They were an air conditioning company, and within 10 days, we were already, by putting content on there, putting images on there, and whatnot, we were already making their phone ring. And it was pure, and this is free, gang.
Yeah,
This is free. Google Business Profiles. If you're not using that, you probably should use that. It's great for local service and searches. It's really important to put that in there.
it is. And just for everyone who's out there listening, hello, everyone. Um, Call Jeff if you don't know how to do this, and begin to do it, because it really, really is a powerful tool that it opened my eyes to a lot. So yeah, I really highly recommend it for all of our members.
Great. So let's move on. So why content? Obviously, it's the auctions for your business. But remember this: according to an article in Forbes, this is pre-pandemic now. 82% of people want to do all their research online before making a buying decision. In other words, before they walk in that restaurant, before they decide to be a member of the chamber, before they even make a buying decision, 82% of the people do all their research online. So if you don't have anything out there that's in the research process for your ideal customer, you are now, I hate to be so blunt and forward about this, but what's happening, Katie, is businesses are now surviving on the scraps, that 18%.
Mm.
And I don't know about you, but it's really tough. Have said, hey, there's 100 potential businesses out there who could join the chamber, but you can only 7.
Right.
Content gets you in front of more of those people. So if you're not showing up the problem solving this content in research, what does it mean to your business? Like I said, you're surviving on scraps. It's almost like you've cut off the food and now you're surviving on water and oxygen. Remember, 3 days and 4 to 6 minutes. Are you willing to make that decision? So, by the way, post-pandemic, that 82%, Katie, has gone to 88%. Because it's trained us. Hey, we were at home. We couldn't go anywhere. We're like, some people discovered Google for the first time and said, geez, I can do all my research without even getting off the couch.
Right.
This is important. So researching your audience. There's obvious things like, are they male or female? What age are they? Financial demographics. But I want to point out some of the non-obvious, where they hang out. Do they go to a certain restaurant? Like, do they go, name a steakhouse, right? Do they go to that steakhouse? Do they go to the gym? Do they like to drink wine? Do they travel? What magazines do they read? What TV shows or streaming services do they use? I had to add that streaming service because I started to put TV on, like, I'm a streamer. Hey, Netflix, right?
Yeah.
So these are things that when you're putting your research together, you can find it, as Katie said, you can go to a different level of searching. Like, as an example, if you went to Netflix and you just Googled, the average demographic for Netflix users are, I bet you could probably, because you can't stump Google. You put that in there, it'd tell you they're this old, they watch it this many minutes a day, they watch these kind of shows, and the age. And all of a sudden, you have a demographic that can help you, because when you put out content, you want us to start lining up, because if they're binging on Netflix, we want them to binge on your content.
That's right.
So you can use that as a springboard to do that. So these are some of the non-obvious things. And there's a whole bunch more. I remember when I was in the golf industry, there was one golf magazine called Golf Week. And we really tried to talk to that audience because they were shown to be had the highest disposable income. They had more time on their hands than the average person, which is perfect for our demographic. So we just kept tagging on to them.
Sure. Right? Yeah, makes sense.
So whether it's hot dogs or they like to travel, you want to make sure you know who you're talking to there. So researching and defining your audience. So what tools can help you with this? Well, I want to talk about the tools that are maybe, again, non-obvious. Current customers have paid for your services or products. As an example, Katie, if I challenge you and said, hey, what does your average member look like? Right? And it said, well, if you want to attract more, there's a saying that says, birds of a feather, what together?
Stick together.
Yeah. So it's like, hey, if there are people that are like your other customers or other members, then go get those same people.
That's right.
Right. So find out those people who have already paid for your services. They voted with their wallet that they know, like, and trust what you offer. Find out what they already like. And then ask your employees or staff who interact with your customers. Like, this is a biggie for us with our HVAC companies, Katie. So what we'll say is I'll get them in a room and I'll say, hey, what are the questions when you're, this deep in fixing air conditioning that a homeowner might ask you? Boy, write it down, write it down. Because here's the thing. And this is a saying that we have, if they ask, we answer.
Yep. Absolutely.
Because it's not just an anomaly that they ask, hey, how often should I change my filter in my heating and air conditioning? We all want to know that. How often should we do that?
Yeah.
So why not put a piece of content out there that answers that question? And that content, by the way, Katie, can be written. It can be a video. It can be images. It can be a combination of those three. Those are all good things.
Okay? And I think that's so great, is just to write down even the top 5, 10, and even if you can even get to 20 questions that people have that are the FAQs, right? The basics that really everybody wants to know, it can become a really great piece for anyone. And it can even help someone start their blog, right? Just by starting to answer those types of questions.
Absolutely. Yesterday, I did a one-on-one with another business owner. By the way, if you're not doing those kind of things, you need to reach out to Katie because she has this thing called a member roster, and reach out to people and just get to know them. It's amazing. But yesterday we were talking about some of this stuff, and I just asked the one gentleman asked me, he says, "Well, why did you join the chamber?" And I'm like, "Wow, I guess this," and I gave him the answers. Well, if Katie or Don or Annie asked me that question and those are some of the answers, then all of a sudden those are potential solutions that you can make content for,
That's right. Yeah,
right?
love it.
Like maybe, hey, maybe I'm a new business owner in the Coachella Valley and I really don't know anybody. I thought it'd be a great way to get to know somebody.
That's right. Yeah,
Make an article about it.
it's one of the number one reasons, in fact, that sense of community and getting involved and belonging. That's definitely what local chambers do really well. We just happen to do it very, very, very well. I'm just kidding.
Well, the Olympics just wrapped up on Sunday. I don't know if you saw the closing ceremonies, but Katie and her crew were walking in there. They were just filled with all these gold medals. They got back from China last night, so
Yep,
yeah,
that's right. That's
yeah.
right.
And they cleared all the customs and they got their shots. The whole thing, everything's good.
All set.
Yeah. So, Katie, any other ideas of like what other tools can you think of that could help you answer these questions about your customers?
I think other tools could be, well, you said video. I think that's something, obviously, what we're doing right now, reaching out to people. It's a very easy way to reach out and also make yourself a little bit more human sometimes than writing. But I love the idea about blogs. I love the idea. We do something like a new member orientation to help answer people's questions. So we do a lot of face to face, which you mentioned as well. And the tools we use, I think, are all over the place, whether that's website. Like this, we use StreamYard.
Mhm.
Zoom is another place where meetings can happen, and again, person to person. What I have not done with our Google page for our business page is put anything like that in there, thinking of it this way. I know. I put a few things, like I put events, Taste of Summer, Rancho Mirage, maybe a couple of calendar items. But what I really need to tend to is going back to question one, jotting those down and making sure they're on that Google business page.
Yeah. And on your Google, and this is a little bit of a deviation here. We're going to take exit 107 here for just a second because we need some gas. With your Google My Business or Google Business Profile, how often are you putting pictures in there?
So I want to say, during the pandemic, I was doing it quite a bit. I was really trying to stay on it. I think now that we're starting to open and have events again, I've gotten a little bit away from it. But what I need to do is teach my team how to do it
Yeah.
so that it's all of us. So that if Annie's out doing her adventures with Annie, she can put those up there. And when Dawn gets her, we just took another new member picture yesterday, she can put those up there. So what I like about it is I can give access to my team and we can post them all together so that we're really keeping up.
Yeah, the whole thing about images, and this is what we see, and you might want to just take a note of this when it comes to Google My Business or Google Business Profile. Images are absolutely like secret sauce, gang.
Mhm.
You can put articles in there. We put for our clients, we put between 16 and 20 articles a month for our clients on their pages. But here's the thing: we might put between 100 and 200 images a month up there for our
Wow.
customers. And
Fantastic.
it's amazing the number of people, the number of views that people will have. Like some images will have 3, 4, 500 views on that.
Ours are even getting, thousands.
There you go.
When we did exactly what you said, towards that beginning time, we just loaded a ton. And I thought, I'm not really sure what I'm doing. I have a general idea, but our pictures are always great because it's celebrating new businesses, ribbon cuttings, and mixers and get-togethers. And so it made it really easy. And sometimes there were people that were wearing masks because that was the mandate, and sometimes without. But really, right away, I was getting those reports back saying, "Oh, you've had 1,000 views. Great
Mhm.
job. You're doing well." And that's the other thing that it does. It kind of coaches you along.
Yeah. Here's something else, and it's called UGC. And I don't know if you've heard of that terminology. It's called user generated content.
Mm.
This is a great opportunity. We see it all the time. Like as an example, I took a picture on my phone this morning. I walked out. I had a real early shoot this morning. I walked out and I looked to my south, and the mountains had snow on them. So I took a picture of that. Well, if I'm in the know, what I should do is say, "Hey, I'm going to send this to Channel 3 or Channel 7, one of the TV stations."
Yep.
The same thing can happen is, as an example, let's say, for instance, you send an email to us of saying, "Hey, if something happened in the community, take a picture of it and send it in." And
Mhm.
all of a sudden, what happens is, instead of having you and Dawn and
Mhm.
Annie, the three of you doing this, all of a sudden now you have hundreds of us as business owners thinking, "Oh, this would be a great picture to share because this happened and this happened." And all of
Love
a sudden now
that.
you have this wealth of information.
I am going to jot down your ideas.
uh,
Love
All right.
that.
So now once you have these answers and you kind of know who you're speaking to and what their needs are, the next thing is creating amazing content. And that's something we'll talk about next week, because that's the next step. We're breaking this down. If you joined us last week, what we talked about was all the pieces, the three key pieces that you need to have to create amazing content to actually attract your customers. By the way, some people have a misunderstanding of this, Katie. They think, well, putting content on my website or putting it on Google My Business or sharing it on social media, that's a really slow process. That couldn't
Mhm.
be further from the truth. We're seeing, again, because most people want to know the answers before they go out and buy something. So
Mhm.
it can happen quite rapidly.
Mhm.
And Google is really, really looking to make you shine by putting good content out there. I'll leave you with this before we answer any questions. When you're putting content out there, make sure it's whole and complete. It's almost like we were joking when we first started. I said, "Hey, if I had a piece of chocolate cake, you're the whipped topping on top of it. You make it that special." Well, don't forget the whipped topping on top of it. Finish it up, because here's what happens. If you only nurture me to that next thing and think, "Well, I wish I knew this," then
Mhm.
if you don't have a link within that piece of content to get me to go to the
Yes.
other one, Netflix
Yes.
binging, then somebody else will. I'll just keep
Right.
searching.
So when you say, top it off, round it up, make it whole, and you mentioned the link. So each time we post things, we're starting to, and I hope this is along the same lines of what you're meaning. We're starting to add our website to everything now, ranchmiragechamber.org. And it's something that we just came back from a conference, and Annie said, "Oh man, I think we're missing out. Our social media is actually very good. But what we need to do now is just make sure we're adding our website to all of those things, bringing people right back to the home page." So we're just now starting to do that. So for anyone who's out there listening, that's just one small thing that you can do to kind of bring it all back full circle. Is that along the lines of what you were meaning, Jeff?
It is. And can I plus it just a little bit?
Yes, please.
Okay. One time, it was about maybe 5 years ago, we were getting a presentation to the PGA of America, and we looked at the most popular, the most successful club in Southern California. And what was happening is they were running ads, and they were saying, "Click here to book a tee time." The ad was to book a tee time, but when you clicked it, it took them back to the homepage.
Mm,
And so what happened was, we asked the group, how many things can be termed as distracting to somebody if you send to their homepage. And I don't know about you, but it doesn't take too much before I'm thinking, why was I here again?
mhm,
All
mhm.
of a sudden I'm thinking about buying a pair of shoes and I forget about making the tea time.
Right.
So what I would do is, let's say, for instance, you have a topic about a certain event, or you mention a certain event, and you link that information. You put a hyperlink in there, and when you
Perfect.
click it, it takes them directly to that page that talks about that event where they would
Even
sign
better.
up.
Even better.
Yeah.
Yeah, so instead of doing our website, we could do our calendar page on the website.
Yes.
Or we can do the exact event itself, which will
I would
really
I
help
would
bring it
try to
home.
get right to the exact
I
event.
like that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Wow.
All right. So any questions about this? This is about researching before you actually start your work. It's almost like saying, hey, we're going to go on a hike. And if I just left it at that, you don't know if it's a day hike. Is it an hour hike? Is it a hike in the mountains? Is it a hike in the desert? How do you pack for that?
That's right.
So this allows you to make sure before you set out on this adventure that you have the right things to be successful, and that you come out on the other end and you survive. You had plenty of water, plenty of food, plenty of oxygen.
Well, and I don't see questions, but I see Malcolm Smith from Houston, Texas is tuned in today and has really enjoyed the presentation. Said thanks so much, hearing everything great, taking everything in. So thank you for this, and thanks for each week bringing us more. These are very important tidbits, but they're so monumental to the real experience and engagement with community and customers and growing business at the end of the day. We just can't thank you enough for bringing your expertise.
My pleasure. I really appreciate that. My information is on the screen. If you have any questions, and we'll watch this. So if you have future questions, if you're watching this in a recorded version, then make sure to just put your questions there. By the way, in each one of the chats or the description for Facebook, for Rancho Mirage, and also for Swing Point Media and in YouTube, there's a link there. And what that link is that is a worksheet. You can download that. I'm not asking for your email or address, just download it. And it gives you a recap of what we talked about in what does it take for you to build a nice content marketing program that attracts your ideal audience, that gets you more customers. Because at the end of the day, a business survives if they can just keep getting new customers. Yeah. And keep the ones that they have obviously very happy. But if you don't have that new customer, again, it's like all of a sudden we're just choking it off. No food, no water, and then no oxygen. And we want to make sure to supply all three of those.
Agreed. Very good.
Katie, I'm so excited that you were here. You actually made my month. I really appreciate that.
Oh, well, I'm thrilled to always be a part of this and learning from the best. We appreciate all of your expertise for folks out there, locally, or Malcolm in Texas. I mean, it's really nice to be able to share because the technology has just moved so quickly. And while we see business, we've talked about this before, we see businesses that are so focused on the day-to-day, it is important to take a step back and say, okay, let's reassess. Let's look at what tools are out there. What can we focus on? We can't focus on everything at once, but what are little things that we can do just to continue to refine? And so I've been kind of on this kick for a little bit now, just 1% better every day. What little things can you do for your business just to make it 1% better each time? And before you know it, you're reaching that 20, 30%, 40, 50, and you're noticing it in your books and your income and your bottom line. So I feel like that's what both of us are here for at the end of the day.
Yeah, there's a great book called The Slight Edge by Jeff Olson that talks about that. And, we think, well, if we just get 1% better every day, we're 365% better at the end of the year. And that's not true because it's compounding every day.
There you go.
Yeah. And so if I could just hitch one little ride with that, and then I'll let you go, sure. Is also one thing that we tend to do is we compare ourselves against other people that are already doing it well, and we beat ourselves up at the end of the day. What I'd like you to do is think, hey, all I'm going to do is I'm going to step on the scale in the morning, and I'm going to see where I'm at. And then in the evening, I'm going to step on the scale. And if my goal is to gain weight, am I heavier at that point? Yes, I'm on track. If it's to lose weight, am I lighter? I'm only judging myself on what's occurred that day. So if you got one article out, you got one post out, one image up, put it out there. You're not like Gary Vaynerchuk that does 100 posts a day. That's insane.
That's right.
Yeah. Judge it on how you're doing.
I love that. Great piece of advice. Thank you, friend.
Katie, take care. We'll see you guys next week. Thank you.
All right. Sounds great. Bye, everybody.